The Angry Chicken is a production of Amove TV. Bookmark amove.tv for more gaming and esports shows. The Angry Chicken is directly supported by listeners like you via patreon.com/TAC.
Everyone, get in here!
Ready for action! I've got the beast in my sight. A podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. This is The Angry Chicken.
Welcome back, everyone. This is The Angry Chicken with me, Garrett Weinzerl, and Willie Dills Gregory. No, you're not crazy. It's just two of us today. It's just double trouble. There are other duo things. I don't know, man. Like, Batman and Robin's always lame because no one ever wants to be Robin. So, I don't know. Indiana Jones in Short Round. You're wearing a hat. I guess you get to be the lovable,
Sure.
the lovable sidekick today. Yeah, Joss is out on vacation. It is aligning damn near perfectly with her birthday, so happy belated birthday to our missing third host today. But Dills, I think you and I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be able to make it through a two-man show.
Yeah, we know how to talk about Hearthstone, I think.
Do we?
So I think we got this.
Do we? I think we have it. I think we can possibly.
There's actually a lot of stuff going on with the AMA and even though there's no like news, there's talk. There's things.
Yeah, I was putting together the notes for today, and I'm looking at the broad strokes of Hearthstone news from the last 7 days, and it looked like I got in and I was like, oh my god, there's nothing to talk about. There's nothing has happened. And then I actually got caught up on the AMA, and then I also read up on some arena comments by Ixar that I completely missed and realized, goodness gracious, each one of these stinking bullet points is a deep well.
Yeah. This is going to be less of a we're telling you what's about to happen and more of a just discussion on the state of Hearthstone type of show, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think so as well. So, but how you doing, man? You still playing the Jade Elemental Shaman? I've been enjoying it.
I played it all the way up to rank 5, and I actually got to like 3 or 4 stars, and then ended up going on a little losing streak. So when I came back last night, I switched to I did sign up for premium on HS Replay,
okay,
hsreplays.net, and it's really good. It's a fantastic tool, because what you can do with premium is you can really delve deep into each card specific rank, so you can do rank 15 to 10. What's the meta there? Rank 5 to Legend. What's the meta there? So I kind of looked around a little bit and came across a Paladin deck that a lot of people are having a lot of success with from rank 5 to Legend. So I played that last night. Had a winning record, but it was 9-6, which is not fantastic. But it was still, it was good. But obviously, when you get to rank 5, things get a little tougher. So I'm going to kind of play around. I feel like I played that deck so many games already this month that I don't want to get stuck on it, but I'll come back to it, I think, with a different build sometime soon. But I'm just trying to make the push here, and we'll see. We'll see. I'm just going to go with what works right now.
I think we'll be talking a little bit about that deck again at the end, too. And we got an email that was asking some specific questions about strategy within that deck, so I figured I'd pop it in here and give us one more excuse.
I've gotten a ton of tweets and things from people who are playing the deck, so apparently it's really caught on. So that's very cool. It's fun when a deck that like you made becomes something that a lot of people are getting on board with. I have a deck in Wild that a lot of people are, or I was playing last night that I was like another homegrown deck, and I was like, this could be a thing, and it's Echo of Medivh Secrets Mage.
Well, you went
tries to OTK people.
You did it, Dills. You mentioned it, like, you actually said the name of it and mentioned a class. This means you have to put a deck link in the show notes, so we're going to have 20 tweets tomorrow. We're going to be having to tweet out a deck list, too. But that sounds rad, actually. Go ahead and, when you have a chance, pop a link in. I'd like to try it.
Yeah, it's super fun. You can OTK people, but you can also just kind of outvalue people, because you get the 0 mana 5/5s. And then you echo Medivh. It's almost like mini giant things, but you don't have to be at 0 health or have cast a bunch of spells. You just have to cast 3 secrets, which is really easy. And then you get 0 mana 5/5s. You play 2 of those. You echo them. You play 2 more. You have 4 5/5s.
Just fill them up. Fill
Yeah.
them up. Do you have anything that puts...
You're like a mini quest rogue.
Do you have anything in that deck that puts secrets out randomly where you have to worry about what your echo might be landing on?
Well, no. I mean, Echo Medivh doesn't matter, but you do have.
Or
duplicate.
sorry, I'm thinking of duplicate.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of.
But you do have
My bad.
duplicate, and sometimes you mad scientist, and then you have to be careful what you play because you want to duplicate Medivh's valets, and you want to duplicate Thaurissan. Those are the guys.
Oh, I didn't know you wanted to duplicate Thaurissan. That's
Yeah,
a
you
cutting
really
edge tip there, Dills.
In fact, I tweeted out last night. I had a game where I think I had 4 Thaurisans on the board at one point.
That's
pretty good. Good fun.
That's gross. That's really gross. Can we, now do it with Ragnaroses. Just have a firing line.
Okay, I'll work on that.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I've just been mostly playing your Elemental Jade Shaman and going back to the Jade Druid every time I go up against a priest or a mage and want to pull my hair out. So I keep falling back to Jade Druid.
I feel like the Jade Elemental Shaman does do okay against priest and mage, but it's definitely you have to kind of alter your game plan, right? Like it's a different game. It's not as much of a tempo game as it is like a value game all of a sudden. So, you know, that deck. I'm wondering like how to tech it. You know, I'm still trying to figure it out. I've played about 50 games with it, and it feels like the core is solid. So now I can start to play around with what to take out and put in things like an Eater of Secrets would just make the mage matchup super easy, right? Because you just take away their ice block and then hit them in the face for 5.
Yeah,
so,
well, and then they get their second ice block and their third ice block. I'm not sure how you deal with that.
Sure,
but
you just got to time it right. You got to time it right.
Yeah. I think my my personal like conquest this past week that I was super happy about was actually managing to pull off a win against a Taunt Warrior as an aggro druid.
Nice.
That was nice.
Wow.
He kind of drew poorly, but he did find both brawls, and I still managed to win. So that's always feels good.
Yeah, that's a tough matchup.
Yeah, it was a nail biter for sure. One of the brawls was the top deck right after I filled the board with 2/2s and spent all my mana, and I was just like, no, this is gonna work. But it was fine. It was all totally fine. Well, before we move on to news and talk about what Ixar and Ben Brode have been talking about, we have a sponsor to thank on this episode. We have to thank Away Luggage, which you can check out by going to awaytravel.com/TAC. They make really great, high-quality luggage to go and travel with. Or maybe, I don't know, you're the type of person who just likes to bring around a suitcase with you around town. But if you, what I like about them is if you pick up the carry-on or the aptly named bigger carry-on, they actually have internal batteries for charging, which means I can sit there in the terminal and charge whatever device I feel like playing Hearthstone on. At any given time, which is very nice, and I have a feeling Jocelyn has been abusing this quite a bit while she's been traveling for her vacation.
Yeah, these things are rad, man. You got the carry-on, the bigger carry-on, the medium, and the large. This is not the Starbucks of luggage. They're not going to trick you with fancy names. They're going to tell you exactly what's going on. This is a carry-on. This one's bigger.
I'm gonna start naming all future podcasts along this route. So the Angry Chicken will forever just be known as Hearthstone Podcast.
Hearthstone Podcast. Yes.
Yeah.
ITN will just be Heroes
This is
Podcast. WoW Podcast.
Yeah, WoW Podcast. You can start calling yours just Wrestling Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be good. It'll be good stuff. But yeah, definitely go check them out at awaytravel.com/TAC. They have a TSA-approved combination lock, an interior pressure system, which means you can just push the air right on out, maximize that space. Free shipping in the 48 lower states, a 100-day return policy, and a lifetime warranty. Not to mention that website I've been throwing at you, awaytravel.com/TAC. If you go there, you pick out what suitcase you want. If you enter the promo code TAC during checkout, you will get $20 off your order. And we thank Away Luggage for sponsoring this episode of The Angry Chicken. Now, let's get into this week's Hearthstone news.
Good news, everyone!
All right, you want to start with Ben Brode highlights or Ixar Arena highlights?
Let's go with the Ixar stuff first, right? It's up top.
All right, rad. All right, so Ixar's been pretty chatty over on the Reddit this week. We've got some highlights here. These are courtesy of hearthpwn.com. You'll already be reading that, but if you haven't, here are the highlights. Ixar believes it is unlikely we're going to see major changes to single card pull rates in Arena because they now have tools to make the micro adjustments that we've been seeing to control class balance.
Yeah, that's fine. I think that's okay. As long as they do larger adjustments when appropriate, right? So, making a broad 50% thing is kind of a micro adjustment just to the nth degree, right? So this is fine. They don't. I like the idea of not having to just pull cards completely. When they first did that major shakeup where they pulled a bunch of cards, pulled the bad cards for the bad classes and the good cards for the good classes, we talked about on the show and said at the time, this is like something they can do now, right? And now that is something they could do then. The tools are now clearly in place to be able to do things differently. So, yeah, put those cards back in and adjust the rates, right?
Yeah.
Seems like a good idea.
Yeah, and on the subject of those micro adjustments, Ixar also mentioned that cards that have been removed from Arena in the past, they could come back. They do have a chance of being added back, but they want to see what the impact of these micro adjustments are before they try anything else. But that's a cool idea,
Sure.
kind of reintroducing cards, and something we've talked about on the show before is kind of treating Arena as your own, kind of block or cube set where you can curate and change the pool of cards.
Yeah, no, and it's now they have that they have the technology. This is how I think they should just throw all those cards back in and just adjust their rates, because I miss some of those old cards, man. Actually, this next thing, Snipe. I miss Snipe.
Yeah, get Snipe in there. I'm not saying I don't think they necessarily need to add in like every card from every expansion back in. Certainly feel free to do that for certain periods of time, but maybe not all the time. But Snipe, absolutely. XR even mentioned, hey, adding Snipe and other cool cards back into the pool would make for interesting gameplay. I agree. I think we were all three of us were sitting here kind of lamenting the removal of Snipe, just because of what it does to picking secrets in general. In Arena, it takes one more possibility out of the pool. Certainly, yeah, I'm sure there are Arena players out there that don't know Snipe isn't in it, but the majority of us, we do the reading, so we know when we see a Hunter Sugar come up, we know we don't need to worry about that
it's
specific
not Snipe.
one.
Yeah, you don't have to play around it anymore. But there's also things like Cloaked Huntress, and Eagle Horn Bow, and other cards get a little bit weaker when you take out just one of the secrets. So
yeah. That being said, keep taking Eagle Horn Bow. Keep picking it.
Yeah, it's still a good card, yeah.
They can adjust Arena chances without a client patch. It is all done server side, so that's got to be so awesome for them, because that's something we hear all the time, right? Is that one of the limitations of the speed with which we get Hearthstone changes, any Hearthstone changes, Arena or not, is that a lot of times you are forced to send a patch, and you have to deal with the Apple Store and stuff like that.
Now, here's the problem that I have with this, though. This is great. I'm glad that that's how it works. But could you just please tell us every time you do something? Because it's really annoying to find out later that something happened, right? So that's my only plea. All of this stuff here that I'm reading is all really good, but just put it somewhere, not a comment on Reddit.
Yeah.
Somewhere official.
Yeah, even if it's a pain in the butt to add that message into the game, it would be fine if it was just on the official site.
Sure, just somewhere where there's like, here are the changes we've recently made to Arena. And, okay, if you go to Steam, right, and you look at a game, I was looking at PUBG, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, the other night, right?
I haven't heard anybody invoke this game at all lately.
No one's talking about this game. It's just, dead game, clearly. But you can find a page that basically is just a list of everything that's changed over time, right? And it'll say, here's what we did in 1.13, 1.14. And sometimes it's something pretty trivial, And then, of course, there's big patches where you get its own kind of page. But if you just had a thing where it was like Arena changes over time, and I could just go look and I could see what's happening, I think that'd be, people who play the game a lot, I think it's very useful. And I get it. that this information isn't for the masses, but someone can sit down and just write it down and put it somewhere so that we can access it. And I know, like, people like Adwakta and Merps who make their living talking about not only one single game, but one single format in one single game, which is Arena. They need to be able to be accurate. They're building essentially like a side business based on that, and when they don't have accurate information, it hurts their ability to do that. So I don't know. It just seems like this should be common sense, but
yeah, no,
whatever.
I
Please
agree.
do it. Please do it.
What I don't want is, like, I don't want anyone thinking this be like, oh, would you rather have that than XR, speaking to us directly in Reddit and places like that? No, I want both. Like, XR, what XR is doing is great and awesome. It's just that I think the issue that Dills is raising, and I agree, is the that we're finding out about it now after the fact, after it's already in the game, where these type of changes should be handled no differently than a balance update to a card. So why not give us update notes or patch notes whenever a change like this is made to Arena?
Yeah, and I get it. Like, if they up a card by 1% as an offering rate, you don't need to make a freaking patch note for that. But when you changed weapons to be included in the 175% or whatever it is increase, that we should be told. Yeah. We should be told that. Okay, you can pick you can pick Warrior again. Okay, thank you. Yeah. I didn't know that I could pick Warrior again.
Yeah, and I know we typically poke fun at Patch Notes Steve for kind of leaving certain things out when they do write patch notes. But honestly, I think it's totally fine if they omit certain tiny changes. But I agree, if there's larger changes, let's get it out there in a more official avenue.
So something where I don't have to be going to Reddit and reading a specific thread, right? Like, that's just not the most efficient way to do it.
Yep. If you were worried that there were maybe too many humans making hands-on changes to Arena, that's not the case. Changes to individual card pick rates are handled by math and data. There are still team members monitoring and running tests to make sure the classes feel good, but the actual changes themselves, done by computers.
Okay. That's sure. So they just wrote an algorithm, I guess. Great.
That's what it sounds like.
Keep doing it.
Yep. When new sets come out and cards from the set have a 2x bonus to show up, they are unlikely to make class balance adjustments right away. It's fine. This is kind of in line with how they make balance changes to the game itself.
By the way, I've talked about this in the past, that I'm not a huge fan of the bonus being 2x. It's a pretty large bonus, Right. So what ends up happening is that it becomes 2x to the set, but then it's compounded by the bonus to class cards, right? So what ends up happening is a card like Firelands Portal is suddenly everywhere, and it really kind of takes hold of the meta when there's one very powerful card, especially when it's part of an adventure. And thankfully, we don't have to deal with this anymore. An adventure where there's 45 cards, one card getting offered 200% more to one class, and it's a class card, and then that's 200% on top. It just ends up becoming too ridiculous, right? Especially when it's a card that good for Arena. So I wouldn't mind this bonus going down a touch. And I understand the need to have it because it does affect... It makes sure that the new expansion affects the meta in a big way, right? But I wouldn't mind seeing this be like 1.5x, something like that. It's just 2x is a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I think without walking it back a little bit from the previous point of them saying, hey, we wait. Or not even the previous point, this point. Sorry, it was within the same damn talking point. I think they need to walk back from their unwillingness to make class balance adjustments right out the gate, because this is an issue specifically when cards are extremely strong, like Firelands Portal. And if that's the problem,
exactly.
like me, I think it would still be cool if other classes that have more average strength card pools in a new expansion. I don't necessarily want to see less of the new cards or fewer of the new cards in other classes as a result of one or two classes being a little more powerful than the others. I almost feel like it's a punishment at that point if we're cutting back.
That's a good point. Yeah, no, you make a fair point that if there's a card that's really good for, say, Warrior, and Warrior is historically not a good arena class, do you want to then take that card away from them essentially? So yeah, maybe this could be something where they just do their micro adjustments, but do them as soon as they see the problem. I don't know. Yeah, it's tough.
No,
it's just that the meta changes so drastically sometimes around an expansion, right? Because of this bonus. So it worries me a touch. And we do want to play the new cards, obviously. So there should be a bonus of some amount. I just don't know what that amount is.
Mm-hmm. Finally, commenting on the Arena subreddit, Ixar gave like 3 basic long-term goals for Arena balance. He said, 1, get to a place where very engaged Arena players can see a pick between 3 classes and choose one based on what they feel like playing rather than an obligation to play one based on power level.
Yes.
Roll that into what we've just talked about with overly powerful spells or minions or what have you whenever there's a 2 times offering of new expansion cards. 2, Ixar said, keep the adjustments small enough that they don't impact a player's gameplay or decision-making. He said it isn't a disaster in the opposite circumstance, but we would prefer the correct way to play Arena not involve having a long list of rules next to your keyboard as you pick cards.
Or a tier list?
Or a tier list. Or a tier. That's going to be really hard to get away from.
Yeah, there's always going to be a tier list, but yeah. No, I get this. I think the rules he's kind of referring to are things like you must have X number of 2-drops, you must have X number of removal cards, you must have this, you must have that type of thing. Mm-hmm. So you could just pick the card that you feel you want to pick, right? And still have a good time.
Yeah, that sounds a little hippie. Like it sounds a little hippy dippy to me, though. It's just like, well, there's always going to be an optimal pick, and someone's always going to suss it out, and the dedicated are always going to have that list next to them as they play.
You know, I would much prefer them focus on not so much like, okay, we don't want there to be, like, I get it, like, not an optimal class. That's a great focal point. But when it comes to actually drafting, you can either be drafting for fun, synergy, or winning, right? And that's kind of the deal. So that's just not going to go away.
Right.
I don't think you should even worry about that.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, that sounds like a lovely world to be in, but hard to achieve. Finally, the third point, make sure the card pool stays diverse enough that each class maintains a unique identity. Yes, please, and thank you.
I mean, a lot of that is just in card design, honestly. So, and then, making sure that because you've switched the standard that you don't have such a small card pool that it's all basically basic and classic cards, and, there's not enough new cards out there, which is, I think, could be handled if they ever need to by just doing the rotating sets idea, which they've actually kind of addressed as something that they're not against. So.
Yeah, I think this final point they're achieving the most after the change of offering class cards more often than other cards. That helps each class seem unique. On top of the micro adjustments that they've been making, makes the card pool seem a little more diverse. We're not seeing 3 flame strikes every time we go up against a mage.
So I have one more thing that I'd like to put out there as just an idea for a long-term goal.
Oh, is this the Bill's patented fourth goal?
Matchmaking, and I know like matchmaking in Arena is just done on the record. Like, okay, I'm 1 and 2. Here's another 1 and 2 guy. However, there are some times where things feel a little wonky to me. Specifically, the other day, I was 0 and 2 with a deck, and I faced a guy who had maybe the most ridiculously broken deck I've ever seen in Arena. And it's just like, how does this happen, right? Like, how did this guy just retire 2 games and then start from there, or like auto quit 2 games or whatever and just start from there, or what? Like, I don't understand. Or he went against 2 broken decks and then played. Like, I'm not exactly sure how it happened, but I feel like there should be some sort of deck strength number thrown into the algorithm of finding your matchmaking thing. I don't know. I don't know exactly the right answer, but it just seemed odd to me, and it seems like there's something going on sometimes where And you know, for me, I play enough arena. It's not going to matter so much. But let's take Joe Casual, right? And let's throw him into arena, and he's 0-2, and then he goes against some guy at 0-2, and he's like, feels like he's been told that it should get a little easier now, and then he goes up against the most broken deck ever, and then he never plays arena again. He's like, screw this game sucks, I don't want to do it. I think that maybe there's something else that can be done in those types of situations, so something to think about anyway.
Yeah, I think they'd have to almost develop an internal tier list.
Yeah. I mean, they could.
Else.
Like the guy I played, you know, never missed a drop, right? He just played on curve the entire time. So maybe he just got incredibly lucky too. But I feel like this has happened a bunch of times. And that's really why I bring it up. It's just, it seems like at 0-2, it just shouldn't happen. You should at least face a deck where you have a game, right?
Right. No, I completely agree. I mean, what you're describing is at the end of the day bad luck, and I'm sure there's many out there thinking, oh, well, you know, it's just bad luck. It's not going to happen all the time. But it would be nice if there was an added layer of protection to at least deter that, where maybe it still isn't perfect, but we're kind of
there's something that can be done, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like I know that with new players, they essentially give them one loss, right? I don't know if you've heard about this, but they basically add one loss to their matchmaking record. So there are ways that they can adjust matchmaking. So I know that technology's there as well.
Yeah. That always feels quite bad going up against this perfect draws. But like you said, there is the chance, right? There's the chance, like, what, did you make it to like turn 8? There's a chance that they just got 8 of the perfect cards in a row. Like,
it definitely could be. So New Dan in the chat says maybe match a person with their arena win average. You shouldn't do that. You should never do that, because sometimes I draft a really good deck, and sometimes I draft a terrible deck, and just because I average 6.5 doesn't mean I should go against other 6.5 averages when they have good decks and I have a terrible deck. It still should be based on your record, but you could throw in some sort of a, like Hearth Arena gives you a tier score after you draft, right? It tells you like, hey, this deck is a 65. This deck is a 70. And you're like, oh my God, I got a really good deck. They did have some internal thing to make sure that if, you know, somebody with like a 70 deck who's 0-2 doesn't face somebody with a 60 deck who's 0-2, right?
Yeah, if you're talking about matching people with their average wins, you're getting into MMR territory and assigning an MMR in a game mode that is so heavily influenced by the random aspect of your draft that it's just not. I don't think that's going to yield.
That never works.
A fun play environment. But I think there's room for another added barrier in there. It's not like we have queue time issues, and even if there was, they could do something like we see in Heroes, where there are rules, especially when you're going to quick match, about the type of comp that you can get. But after you go past a certain time in the queue, it kind of throws them out the window. Like, okay, we're just going to get you into a damn game now. Sorry, this guy has Death Wing.
Yeah, it expands, and that's fair. Obviously, that should happen too. So sometimes that's what's going to happen too. Rakamar says, I don't really understand who you want this person who had an amazing deck at 0-2 to be matched against. Well, he could play against somebody who's 1-2, right? Mm-hmm. You can just play against somebody who has a deck that's a little closer to his strike. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Like, my deck was clearly outmatched, and I was at 0-2. And when you're at 0-2 and you're completely outmatched, then, you know, it kind of sucks. So, and again, like, I just move on. I go click again. But somebody who's new to Arena might just never play Arena again. So
and a lot of
that's all I'm really saying.
And a lot of this, too, like even if they added that in, I mean, there's still a chance you're going to go up against a deck that curves out perfectly. Maybe it was just the 10 good cards from the deck. The other 20 was crap, but they got all 10 first and actually ended up winning the game.
Sure.
But
that
if you knew... But my point is it's feel bad protection if they added something like what you're requesting, because if you knew that was the case, at least then you would look at it and go, okay, they probably just got a god hand and got very lucky, as opposed to how you're feeling right now, which is, did I just get matched against someone who had an insane deck and maybe they just got the bad beat of the universe for their first 2 games, or just quit, or all these questions into your mind where you question the system. It's
just you know, as you go higher up, you expect the decks to get better. As you go down to 0-2, you don't expect them to get better. And then when the deck gets better, it's like a feels bad situation, right? And I know they've made a lot of changes based on things that feel bad. And that feels bad when you feel like there's nothing that you could have done, right?
Yeah.
And you're at 0-2, and there's just nothing that can be done. especially for someone who pays like the $2 or whatever to play. I mean, I always just pay with gold, but people out there are paying with real money, I'm sure. And if they just feel like, wow, I just played and nothing I could do mattered, so I just threw $2 in the trash.
Yeah,
that's gonna feel bad. So I mean, I'm not even saying like drastically do things. It's just, there's definitely going to be stuff going on.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair suggestion. All right, let's shift gears now from Arena and talk. Ben Brode went and did an AMA on Reddit this week. There was plenty of fun, hilarious, and flavorful responses. It sounds like we're getting a new Ben Brode rap. But we're here to talk about the nitty gritty and remove all of the fun from this. No, I'm just kidding. But some of the highlights from his AMA. One of the things I was surprised to even see come up was the talk of Hearthstone on consoles. To which Ben Brode replied, "There are no plans at this time for a console version of the game." Yeah, he said that there are enough ways to play Hearthstone already. But I just found that interesting because it's something I've never even considered. But I guess it could be done.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the Nintendo Switch wouldn't be a bad place for it, right?
I want it on the Switch horribly because that's now my go-to travel fun box.
Sure.
But even
does the Switch have touchscreen though, or would you have to use?
It has a touchscreen.
It does. Okay.
I don't know how robust it is because the only damn thing I've played on is Zelda, and there's not really a lot of touchscreen functionality there. But I have gone through the menus and whatnot with the touchscreen.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I still feel like you wouldn't want to be using a controller to play Hearthstone. At least I wouldn't. I'm sure, I know you could, but it just wouldn't. That just feels weird to me.
Yeah,
mouse or dragging feels right, but
no, I agree. I mean, I don't even like playing on touchscreen in general. If I can help it, I'd rather play with a mouse and not a keyboard, just a mouse. Because unless I'm talking to somebody, there's no point to use the keyboard. But yeah, I'm the same way. But I mean, like I said, it could be done. It's interesting, but obviously not being worked on at the moment. They said he said that more details on making more stats available to players will hopefully come later this year.
Okay.
So that what a bizarre way to put things, but it sounds like we're getting more stats, I guess, at some point. That'd be good.
Well, right now, what stats do we have? We have here's how many wins with each class.
Wins.
That's it.
And how many arena wins? I guess like the most ever achieved. I guess because you can see your key.
Well, you get the highest key you've ever gotten.
Yep.
And then you get total arena wins and total constructed wins. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see records and stuff like that. Definitely. Yeah. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'd like to see that too. I'm already doing it with Hearthstone Deck Tracker, but it'd be cool if it was in the game. Brode also said there are still no plans for content from other Blizzard titles in the game outside of things like Tavern Brawl or card packs. So this is like, crossover, bringing like StarCraft or Overwatch characters and make cards out of them. This is what everyone was like, oh my God, they're going to finally do it when Heroes of Warcraft was dropped as a subtitle on the title.
Sure.
So there's still no plans, folks. So
yeah, that's fine. But one day, maybe. I'd be into it.
Sure.
I'd be into it.
Yeah, why not? I mean, at that point, just call it Heroes of the Stormcraft or Hearthcraft or something.
Well, I mean, you could just have like one expansion, right? And then you could just, they make the lore up themselves, right? So they could just say, oh my God, a starship has crashed with Zerg in it. Oh man. Then here come the Protoss to save the day, and
okay.
And then the Terran join the fight.
Within the next 5 years, I'd be really okay if Hearthstone: The Nexus came out. And they just bring they have a Heroes of the Storm expansion for Hearthstone where they bring in a bunch of crap from all the other Blizzard games. That's no, I'm with you. It's totally fine.
That'd be super fun. And then again, still no plans, but that doesn't mean that it won't change one day.
Yep. Never say never. Never say never. All right, let's talk about some of the balance stuff he brought up. Brode said that Ice Block matches some of the red flags for cards that maybe shouldn't be in Standard forever. Cool. Get rid of it. I'm fine with that. Send it to Wild.
Yeah, it does seem like a card that could eventually go into Wild. And, the weird thing is, with Secrets, as the game progresses and more expansions come out and more Secrets come out, when I'm playing in Wild and a mage casts a secret, it is insane now. You're like, okay, there's one of 12 options here. Let's see. I guess I should do this first, and it's kind of crazy. But that's fine because it's Wild, right? But then there's cards like Ice Block, and Ice Block is fine when there's only 2 of them. But you have to think a card like Primordial Glyph makes Ice Block more of a red flag card, right? Because when there's 3 or 4 Ice Blocks, then it becomes a serious problem, I think. So
I agree.
It's a little bit of a limiter, I think, to probably design space as well, a card like Ice Block.
No, it has to be. There was quite a bit of talk of the limiting of design space in here, but no, I'm with you. That being said, to your comment, there are a lot of mage secrets to keep in mind in Wild. At the moment, that doesn't mean my opinion isn't going to change when we get up to like 20 secrets. But at the moment, I'm kind of liking that about Wild. It's
sure.
It's kind
secrets
of
are actually pretty secret. Like right now, if you play Standard and there's a secret from a Hydrologist for Paladin, it's like one of 5 things, right? There's not that many secrets for Paladin anymore. So, yeah, I kind of prefer when there's a ton of stuff out there.
And a lot of times it'll put that damn 2/2 back in their hand. The getaway code.
Yeah, getaway code. People overpick that. They really do. I don't think it's actually as good as people. I think Redemption is better. I don't know.
I think people tend to lean into it if they have even the slightest awkward hand. If they're just like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do for the next turn or two. They're just like, I don't know. I'll just keep playing Hydrologists, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's definitely true. But okay, let's say you're playing like the Murloc synergy.
Mm-hmm.
The ability to have a Murloc on the board the next turn is so huge, right? And that's why I really think Redemption is just a stronger pick almost every time.
Yep.
People just think that 1 health, it's so easy to kill 1 health, but then you play a War Leader onto it, and suddenly it's got 2.
And even if they do kill it with, if you're going up against a mage or a rogue or a druid, that's still 2 mana they use on their next turn doing something other than casting a card out of their hand.
Exactly, yeah. No, they're using it to remove rather than develop, so it's still helpful.
Yep. I'm with you. No legendary totem card is an oversight. Brode said they'll see what they can do. Again, just right up there with consoles. Things I never thought of about, but unlike consoles, things I would really like to see at this point.
Sure. It was funny. I actually read this question and answer, and the guy was basically like, I play Totem Shaman. That's what I do. Where's my legendary totem? And I was like, well, you're weird, first of all. But second of all, yeah, actually, legendary totem. Where is it? That makes sense now.
Love that players like that exist, and I would like them to be more vocal about the insane ways they play Hearthstone more often.
Like the guys like Zedalot, right? I remember one time he opened up his collection, his list of decks, and it was 9 priest decks.
Yep.
I was just like, okay.
Yep.
You are a special person, my friend.
I was like that with Paladin for a very long time. So, Stone Tusk Boar is, in Brode's opinion, the most guilty card when it comes to limiting future card mechanics. Yeah,
they could probably. I mean, think about the new Rexar, right? Deathstalker Rexar. We're going to be putting Boar with all sorts of stuff.
1 mana charge.
Yeah.
Plus 1/1.
I wouldn't mind them actually just removing it. That'd be fine. Although I do think Hall of Fame would be better than just taking it out of the game, right? Because then you allow it to still like people to do that crazy stuff in Wild. So
yeah, not that they've ever taken a card out of the game, but hey, maybe not kill it like you did Warsong Commander.
Yeah. By the way, somebody linked something the other day where if you play Warsong, if you somehow get a Warsong Commander and a Hunter, and then you get a Tundra Rhino, it doesn't buff all of your beasts because they don't inherently have charge.
No,
right?
they don't get the charge moniker added to the card. It's an aura effect.
Yeah, they're being given charge like on the board, not from the card.
Yeah.
Just an interesting thing that I saw, and I was like, oh yeah, no, that does make sense. But the guy was like, is this a bug? Why didn't this work? It's like, dude, no, it doesn't work that way.
Yep. Continuing on with the mechanic limiters, Mike Dene is in the camp of Preparation, Innervate, and Malagos being other guilty parties of limiting card mechanics.
Yeah, I could see that too. Prep and Innervate. I mean, you look at Magic, the greatest card of all time is basically Prep, right?
Yep.
Black Lotus.
Yep.
Yeah. For anybody who doesn't know, Black Lotus is like, I don't even know what it's worth at this point. Let me just see real quick. You can buy one for $16,000. That's crazy.
Good
But basically,
Lord.
0 mana adds 3 mana of any single color to your mana pool, and then it goes away. So you basically can prep, but you can prep like minions too. So
Well, clearly you need to shop around more, Dills. I'm seeing 750 on eBay.
depends on the if it's like a pristine card,
The quality
right?
of
If it's
it,
a mint condition
yeah.
or not.
Here's $10,999. Yeah, the card's absurd.
And there's also ones from like the alpha, because it was printed like before it was a released game and stuff. So yeah, but basically, think about what prep does, and then apply it to like you could also play minions, right? That card is literally like just outright banned in Magic the Gathering, and people consider it like the most ridiculous card ever printed. And then we just have that card in Hearthstone,
Yeah.
but it only applies to spells.
Right, and it's also limited further by the way classes in Hearthstone work.
Yeah, and
Only
you can only
Rogue
use it
can
in
use
Rogue,
it,
yes.
and it only applies to spells. But still, yes, Preparation is an insane card. So is Innervate.
And then Innervate is just like 2/3 of a Black Lotus, right? You can use it on anything. So
Yeah.
obviously, these cards are very powerful, and they should be considered.
Yeah. Further down the charge rabbit hole, Brode said charge is sometimes a great mechanic. The future, however, could see further nerfs to charge cards due to them being such a large balance challenge.
Okay, yeah. Charge is definitely always going to be a bit of an issue. I really like what they did with the charged Devilsaur in the latest expansion, where the turn you play it, it can only hit minions, and
Yep.
then essentially it becomes a regular minion from that point on.
Yeah, that is a great drawback. Do you think we'll ever hit the point where charge just has that baked in across the board, where charge means it can attack this turn but not heroes?
Well, they're starting to kind of bake it in, right? They could just change the outright mechanic, right, and just say charge just means you can attack minions.
Yeah, they just it would be a huge update.
It would be, but they'd have to probably balance a few things around it. But I don't mind there being a card like, say, a Leroy Jenkins, right? And I think Leroy is a card that is balanced now at 5 mana. And it's kind of a cool thing that you can build decks around, right?
Yeah.
Being able to. And so I don't mind that. So maybe there's like special exceptions. You have charge that only hits minions, and you have like something where it says like charge can go to face with this particular minion or something like that, right?
Yeah, or in the case, like, say they baked it in and charge meant attack this turn but not heroes. On Leroy, just remove charge and just put more text on there. You know, this can attack this turn. Also, all the shite about summon and whelps for your opponent.
Sure. Yeah. So you know what charge does, and then you know. But yeah, it's to me, it's like, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that charge, because then it just opens up so many more possibilities for the card charge, like or the mechanic charge. But then I don't want there to never be Leroy finishers and things like that in the game. So yeah, I'm kind of torn on this issue. But I get it that it's making their jobs harder, right? Having a card like Stone Tusk Boar when they first put out the game was perfect. It was fine. It was a terrible card. Nobody played it. And now and then remember things like Unleash the Hounds back then and stuff like that. Like, they were really cool. But as you start adding more and more cards, these cards just become a problem. Quest Rogue suddenly is like, 1 mana charge. Yeah. Hell yeah.
1 mana charge 5/5.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely I get it. And if it makes their job easier, I'm for it. But I would like to I want there to be combo decks. And combo decks kind of rely on things like a Leroy Jenkins.
I agree. But I think I could still work around that while baking in a change to charge.
Sure.
They could just then remove charge and get creative with their card writing at that point.
Mm-hmm.
They've considered making a free set of cards that would rotate, but it has some complexity, Brode said. They're exploring similar options.
Oh, I read this one too. Basically, the person was kind of asking for something similar to what you get in like Heroes of the Storm, right? Where there's like 6 free heroes at a time.
Yeah.
And it gives you the ability to try out heroes, right? Which is very cool. So this would kind of give you the ability to try out cards. The thing is, though, you can't just buy a particular card, right? Like, let's say, and I kind of see this happening with with legendaries, where like they rotate some legendaries, and then you're like, oh, cool, I get to play with Tyrion. I don't own Tyrion. Oh, I get to play with Yogg. The problem that I see with it is, first of all, then the decks that you play on ladder get affected, which is a little bit funky, but that's fine because that happens in Heroes too, and it's fine, right? Like you see more Vala when there's free Vala. But you can't just buy Tyrion, right? Like if you try Tyrion and you really like it, then what do you do when it rotates out? You just don't have Tyrion again. So
yeah.
I don't think that's the best way to handle
that'd be strange. We have deck recipes, though. Why not just have completed deck recipes playable? Like a completed deck or 3.
You know what would be kind of cool is like you could just play deck recipes on casual. And then if you like the deck, you could just try to build it, right?
Yeah. I like that too.
Or just start selling the damn deck recipes to people. You know
that too. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I still like the option of having of there being a free component, of a rotating free component, because now that you've likened it to Heroes, it's a great thing in Heroes of the Storm.
It is.
It doesn't really affect me anymore because I have damn near every hero. But I still think that'd be fine. So why not do full decks and also maybe more than one, so it doesn't oversaturate the field with one specific deck. And even if it does,
he also did bring up that he doesn't think this is the perfect answer to the question necessarily, like that this isn't the best option out there, and that's why he said exploring other options. There's probably something else they could do that allows players to kind of try things, but isn't exactly this. So
yeah,
I'm glad that they're at least kind of amenable to the idea, right?
Yeah, they're having a discussion about it, which is good to know. They've also considered bringing back some cards from Wild for a short period of time to change things up. And I'd add on to that with kind of under the same thing, the same scheme of trying to shake things up when things are getting kind of stale. They also said that one thing that they're trying internally as an experiment is changing ladder format during the last month of a set.
Okay. That's weird.
It's very weird. I don't. What do they mean by that?
I'm like this one I couldn't really wrap my head around, but okay.
Yeah.
I'm into experimentation, right? So I'm sure it'll be fine, whatever it is they're thinking of.
Yeah, this is really interesting, but there's not enough details to know exactly what they're thinking about here.
If you're a pro player, though, this has to kind of freak you out a little bit, right? Like, well, I'm trying to earn points, bro. What are you doing to me?
Well, if they
changing the ladder format.
If it's for a full month, though, I think that's fine.
Sure,
it's a full month of time.
But maybe it's like not something you spend all your time getting really good at standard, and then suddenly they do something weird at the end.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure some players.
I don't care. I'm just trying to find like holes in it. Yeah, what could somebody complain about? To me, it'd be fine.
Yeah. Well, so the answer to what can someone complain about deals something all the time. No matter what happens.
This is the internet. This is humanity. Yep. Somebody will find something to complain about.
Yeah. All right. And then finally getting into like modes and whatnot, Brode said that they have a design they are excited to try out for a new ranked experience, and an announcement is going to be coming once they know how it changes through the actual implementation. So that's awesome. I'm curious when the hell we're going to hear anything about this.
Yeah.
Maybe BlizzCon?
I'm just glad to hear that there's something. That it's not just, oh, yeah, it's just out there somewhere. One day we'll figure it out. No, there's actually a plan. So,
yeah, I dig it. I'm really happy with the changes they've made to ranked. I think it's in a pretty damn good spot. But this makes me excited.
I actually have found lately that I don't mind ranked as much as I used to. And maybe it's just because I like the game itself a lot, because I think Ngora was just so good. Like, I'm still not bored, right? And we're pretty deep into a damn expansion here. And usually this is where I get frustrated. But I'm still enjoying things. I'm still, like, thinking through turns. I'm still learning. And that has a lot to do with just the design of the cards. But it really does now affect, I think, all the times I was complaining about ladder. Yeah, ladder wasn't perfect, but also just the game itself wasn't fun to grind, right? And that was really the issue. Is that I don't want to play this game 100 times. Like, I want to play it, 20 times and have a good time and feel like I did something and then move on. But now I do feel like I want to play it 100 times, right? And that's
I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, like that's a big like chunk of what makes ladder feel bad.
Yep.
So as long as they can keep making the card design and the set's amazing, they don't have to make a gigantic change to ladder. They can just make it do what it does better than how it's doing it now, right? Like,
Yep.
so hopefully, like, we're not seeing like something crazy. I want to see like incremental stuff to it, and I think that's where they're probably headed.
However, all of that, but also feel free to keep making awesome cards while also improving the ranked experience.
Yeah. Please don't stop
If it's
with the
good,
awesome cards.
I don't
The awesome
care.
cards is pretty dope.
Brode conceded that spectator mode, that's a place where they can make a lot of improvements. Obvious
seriously.
statement of the last three. How long has it existed? Because however long it's existed, that's how long it's been since they've done anything to it.
3 years? Yeah.
Yeah.
They haven't done anything to it, man.
Yep.
Like zero.
Yep.
They put it out, and then they just said, okay, that's done.
Please
Moving on.
do something about the top card hand. Anything at all.
Yeah.
Please and thank you.
Yep. And all the damn bugs. Like, it's just crazy. You guys, we did the triple-headed chicken the other day. I'm throwing down flame tongue totems. You guys are like, what? Why?
What?
Why is it over there?
What's going on? Oh, no, Dills, what did you... Oh, never mind. It just rubber banded into the correct location. Okay, all right.
It's not over there. It's somewhere else.
Yeah.
Or if you, I don't know, I'm sure you've seen this one. If somebody plays the card that they draw instantly, like if they draw it and they just drag it straight into play, it like hangs up on the right-hand side and just floats in the air.
Hope you like looking at Tyrion. He's going to be here all
it
day.
It just chills there. It never hits the board. It's terrible.
No. And granted, I'm sure this is an artifact of them adding new mechanics to the game faster than they can make changes to spectator mode, and that's fine. I think spectator mode should be way further down in the pecking order than giving us new mechanics in the game. But it's been a while. Let's get in there and clean it up a little bit, shall we?
Yeah, but I mean, think about this though. Their own tournaments, like that they're putting on, that are huge, big tournaments. They're giving away $250,000 at this tournament, and then we're watching a bugged spectators. You know, it seems like it's important to me.
Yeah, there's there's a deeper well to go down there. In short,
it is. But then you watch, like I was watching, again, I'm going to bring up PUBG, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. That game is in early access. Their spectator is amazing in that game. you can like look at the entire map and see where everybody is if you make like a custom game. Then you can zoom down on one player, watch them, and then you can see all the other players and the outlines. Then you can like fly magically across the field and go to, it's just like that game is not even close to being out. And their spectator is awesome.
Yeah,
come on, Hearthstone. This is 3 years later.
I mean, in fairness, PUBG was built from the ground up, knowing it was going to be an esport.
That is true, but Hearthstone has officially been an esport now for 4 years, right? So
yes, that is also true.
I get that they didn't assume that it would be, but now it is, and somebody should just get in there and do something about it. Right?
I'm trying really hard to play
know.
devil's advocate here, man. I'm completely in the camp of how the hell has spectator mode not been updated.
It doesn't even need that much. It doesn't even need that much stuff to be done to it to be better, right? It just needs to show the cards right
flip
side
the
up
hand
and not have a bunch of bugs.
Yeah,
That's it.
flip the hand and stop breaking.
That's it. That's not that many things. You don't have to add a whole bunch of features. We don't need to see a detailed history and stuff. Like whatever.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff under the bracket of stop breaking. But yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
And while we're making demands, replays, please, replays. I want them. I want them.
Yeah. Actually, HS replays. If you log in your account, you can have your replay. You can use the Hearthstone deck tracker to do replays.
Mm-hmm.
And they're really cool. And they're actually it's awesome because you get to see what your opponent had at certain spots, at least if the information was made
if they played it so
the
game knew what card it was.
Yeah. So some cards that never get played or whatever, you never know. But you can kind of see what their hand was at certain times. And it is a very useful learning tool. And imagine casters being able to not just roll back the video, but being able to roll back just to see what happened to the board a few turns ago, things like that. It'd be great.
Be awesome. Wild cards are not going to get a reduction in dust cost. Bro said bringing these cards back for sales should make them more accessible. I wasn't expecting a reduction in dust cost.
Yeah, somebody asked a weird question there. I don't think that makes sense.
I can kind of see if wild isn't your thing, or if you have kind of filed wild away as not as important as ranked. You could maybe think that it needs a reduction in cost, but as we always hammer home on the show, wild is a thing, and it should be treated as equal, in my opinion.
But I do think they've made it very inaccessible, right, to newer players. So definitely bringing back the cards to be able to be purchased and stuff like that, and also being able to earn the cards in other ways. I think outside of just straight up purchasing the packs, it's important.
Yep. I want a newer player to be able to focus on Wild and continue naturally getting cards from Wild sets without
it's
just
super fun to be able
dusting.
to swap back and forth during a season, and that's what I kind of use Wild as my fun place, right? So like I grind on the standard ladder, and then I get my 15 games in, and I go, all right, Echo of Medivh, Secret Mage, let's go. And it's great. It's super fun.
Yeah.
Reno lock with Dreadsteed, and you go in there and you have a blast. So I want other people to be able to experience that. And there's got to be cooler ways to be able to get people into Wild other than just re-releasing the packs for sale. I'd like to see, there you go, Mush Potatoes in chat. Make deck recipes that are Wild too and sell those decks. Fantastic. Someone can get it right into Wild if they just were able to buy a deck.
There's still a few legendaries from the classic set where if they were like in one of these prefab decks and it was just more economical for me to buy the prefab deck over crafting the dust of whatever it is, I'd just do that.
Sure. Yeah.
Go get myself. I still don't have Malagos. Go get myself a Malagos.
I love the idea of somebody coming to the game being new, and rather than having to sit there and grind and hope that they get the cards that they want, the ability to just buy a deck that's not maybe that good and is missing some pieces, and it just gets them going, right? I love that idea, and I hope that happens at some point.
A starting, a quick launch, like starting point. Yeah, just like, okay, cool. This will be my workhorse until this is what I'm going to go and collect the rest of my cards with.
Yeah, and you slowly start, and then it tells you, like, it's missing this legendary, and you're like, okay, cool, I know what I'm shooting for. I'm going to grind up with this deck, and then I'm going to eventually get that Jiraxis to throw into my Reno deck, right?
Yeah, exactly. I see you've picked Reno. You should craft Jiraxis next.
Exactly.
Yeah, something like that. Oh, that'd be fantastic. Details are coming about changes to Arena Awards. They're going to be addressed in an upcoming patch. That sounds like it's probably right around the corner.
Okay.
So that's pretty rad. Please just let us pick the damn freaking pack of cards we want.
Pick the pack.
Pick a pack. I want to pick my pack. And nothing to say right now about tournament mode because
all right. Well,
I can no longer be mature.
I'm actually, I'm at the point where I'm just like, I've filed that away under, I'm not going to concern myself anymore, and hopefully one day it happens.
I feel like we file this away and then it comes back up and then we have to file it away again.
I know.
So I've reached the point for probably the third time in Hearthstone's existence of having my soul broken on hopes of tournament mode.
This is like when you really want a bike for Christmas and you just never get one, and eventually you're just like, okay, fine, I'm just not getting a bike. I get it.
Yep.
It's not going to happen.
I mean, at least... I've really been enjoying Brawl lately, but at least they're not doing the thing where you really want a bike, and then you get a scooter. That's what it felt like when we got Tavern Brawl.
Sure.
It's like it's something new, but it's not even close to what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
Basically, what I'm saying is I'm a brat because scooters are rad, and you should.
You really want to skateboard, and then you get rollerblades.
Yep.
You're like, no, what did you do to me, Mom?
Well, if you live in Southern California, there's still a thing.
The kids are going to make fun of me now. Anyway.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right, let's get a little lighter. Dude, did you see the freaking commercial for the Frozen Throne San Diego Comic-Con promo they're bringing out?
The Ice Cream Citadel?
Yeah,
yes.
The Ice Cream Citadel. This thing killed me, man. This was... So you weren't there. You sadly, very sadly, were not at Nerdtacular. But you watched some of the episode where Justin and Terpster and Joss and I were riffing on the Mulligans shorts that they put out.
Yeah. So that Justin really wanted to talk about that for a long time. He was not a fan at all, and I thought they were okay in concept, but not
in
very
execution.
well done in practicality. Right? Like they didn't execute that idea very well.
Yeah.
But there were some funny moments. Like Uther gets it. That was funny. Gul'dan calling shotgun. That was funny.
Yeah.
But there was
about it.
But overall, it fell a little flat. these do not fall flat. This is good.
No, this is this is exactly the kind of humor I would expect and would hope. And so if you didn't watch it, just go and do that. It's
I don't want to spoil anything, but just watch it. It's funny. Ice Cream Citadel is like the initial joke, so that's not really spoiling anything. And that what's funny is that it's like I love the idea that Blizzard totally gets it and knows all of the memes that are going on around their game. But Ice Cream Citadel, people called it that forever, right?
Yep.
So
yep, I love it. Absolutely love it. Also, if you're going to San Diego Comic-Con, apparently this is going to be up and running, and you can go get frickin' ice cream from the Lich King. So I am envious. I still have yet to be to San Diego Comic-Con, and now there's Warcraft-branded ice cream being handed out. So damn you, is my point. Okay, before we wrap this up with an email or two, let's thank our patrons over at patreon.com/TAC for supporting this here podcast known as The Angry Chicken. And if you're out there and you're not a patron, but you're thinking to yourself, I like this show, I'd like to support them, well, cool. This is the best way to do so. Go check it out. Consider giving $1 an episode, $2 an episode, whatever works for you. On this episode, let's thank Christopher's S, Ada, no last name given, Aaron L, Sid S, Squinty Eyes, Jim W, Matt B, and Jordan B. Thank you all very much for your support of the show. We very much appreciate it, and we're brainstorming some new goals, so keep an eye out for that. Now,
some exciting new goals. Yeah.
Yes, I'm stoked. We just need to get a couple more ducks in a row, but I'm excited to announce them. All right, now let's wrap this up with some emails from tacpodcast@gmail.com.
Hello.
Hello, it's me.
Hello.
Just quickly, do you get my message?
Yep.
Oh.
Hello, brother.
I'm sorry, I'm just laughing at Drexbus in the chat room who said they're going to San Diego Comic-Con for the first time this year. They'll pour out a cone for me. Yeah, I like it. Made me giggle. All right, Rumpelstiltskin kicks off the emails this week and says, "Hello, Spicy Clucks. Stop now. I want ice cream and a spicy chicken sandwich. Thank you, everyone." Rumpel says, "I was curious to ask what you thought a reasonable number of packs for a competitive player to open during expansion is." Rumpel says, "I can get up to about, I'm assuming he meant rank 5, and normally I don't purchase more than the pre-ordered set of 50 packs. I've been saving gold for the last few months and should have over 6,000, which will give me 60 packs out the gate on top of the 50 pre-ordered. That's going to give him 110 packs completely, which he says I think is a fair amount. I guess I can't understand why people complain so much about the cost of the game. If you don't spend gold, you can get a huge number at the next expansion. Curious to hear your thoughts."
Yeah, this is basically what I do, what he's describing here.
Yeah, I
pre-order
do.
plus all my gold.
Yep, I do the same thing. Usually a little over 100 packs is what I get out the gate. I did a lot more at Angoro because awesome people donating and whatnot, but typically...
But yeah, like one more big purchase to me seems fine too. Like if I could spend $100 and get basically all the cards, like I feel good. $100 every 4 months on this game seems reasonable to me. So...
Yeah,
I know people are going to say, "Oh my God, but a AAA title! I buy it and then it's $60, blah 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 blah," and then you play it for half a year or whatever at the most. You're going to play Hearthstone for years.
Yep, yeah. Again, disclaimer: of course, I'd be happier if it was cheaper. I'm not insane, but I also play other card games, and this is significantly more affordable.
Yeah. As far as the card game goes, that's right where I think it usually goes. And I think what I usually do is I'll do the pre-order plus all my gold, and then if I feel like I need some more, then I'll maybe make one more purchase, and that's generally how it's always gone. But sometimes I don't need to make the extra purchase if I get a little lucky, or if I just get enough stuff where I feel like I can at least get going, and then I basically buy a pack every time I get to 100 gold for a while.
Yeah.
And then at a certain point, I stop doing that, and I start saving for the next one. And it generally seems to work pretty well. So
yeah,
I think it's about right.
Yep.
Rumpelstiltskin is right on the money, I think.
Yep. I've always considered myself a on a budget player, not a free-to-play player. I always do the pre-order and sometimes buy an initial, a second stack of packs, as you said, depending on if I'm lucky or not.
Sure.
So that's pretty much what I really try not to go over buying 2 stacks of packs.
Yep.
That's just
Ducharmo in the chat says, difference isn't a physical card game, so you can't trade good cards and make money. It's digital. I feel like there should be a difference between the two. And there is, Ducharmo. There is. Magic compared to Hearthstone is incredibly more expensive. So there is a difference.
There is. And
there should be.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right, there should be. But there is.
Yeah.
So.
And on top of that, no one's forcing you to play Hearthstone. You don't need to pay it. You can just either play free to play or not play at all if it annoys you so much, which sometimes the degree of anger I see from people on Twitter, that it just makes me wonder why they're playing in the first place.
Sure. But like, so if I do buy the second go around, right, which is $60 for another, how much is it?
70,
you get
69.99.
60 packs, right? For like 70 or something. I don't know.
It's $69.99 for
anyway,
60 packs.
If I end up spending that, and I spend, so my total is like 130 or something like that. Let's just say that as a number, or 120, and that's what I spend on the entire expansion. And I basically get all the cards to make all the decks. The difference between that and Magic is I could spend $300 on one deck in Magic, one deck out of an entire set, right? So there's a huge difference between Hearthstone and Magic. And then, of course, the argument that I can then trade that deck back or whatever. Once that deck is rotated out, it is not worth what I paid for it. So you can't actually sell it back at cost, right?
Yep.
Like if I spent a bunch of money on Tundra Rhinos or whatever at one point, or Siege Rhinos,
yeah,
I can't go
Rhinos.
sell them back at $15 a Siege Rhino.
You're getting your
anymore.
Magic mixed up with your Hearthstone.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I have a bunch of the Planeswalkers from Theros, and I totally forgot about it, and I should have sold them back when Theros was still popular, in the standard legal. And I went and checked the other day, and oh my god, the bottom has fallen out of those damn Planeswalkers.
Sure. Like I'm still trying to build like a single modern deck that's not even going to be that good, right? And I need Tarmogoyfs, and Tarmogoyfs at one point were insanely expensive. They still are. Oh my god, $85 a card. Okay, well, I have 2. I need 2 more.
Yep. It's
It's great. Yeah, like a dual land or a land that, like a pain land that you could play for, that it could be red or white or whatever. Those things are like $50. You know, you're just like, that's just my mana, dude.
Yep.
I can't even hit your face with it.
Yeah, it's a weird world, and I get it. I'm not people like when I said like it was, no one's forcing you to pay it, and why are you playing if it makes you this angry chat rooms like LOL, if you don't like it go home. Like I realize that probably came off as a little dismissive, but I get why Hearthstone exists in this space where there's this conversation around it, because it is a video game, but it is also a card game. So it's just strange. I don't know. You're gonna fall in one of the two camps. As previously stated, would totally be fine with it being cheaper, but I think it's in a place that is comfortable for me. So
sure, yeah, and also like you get a lot of people who come to Hearthstone who don't come from card games, so their perspective is a little different, right?
Yeah,
like Hearthstone is their first card game, and they're like, whoa, why is it so expensive? But it's just And, like if you come from World of Warcraft and then you come to a free to play MMO, you're like, whoa, what is this? I don't pay for it? Oh my god! It's like you're what you think of things now is always based on previous experience.
Yeah.
So when you have previous experience with Magic, you come to Hearthstone and you're just like, yeah, this is fine. I don't see the problem here.
And to that I say, if you're coming to it and it seems daunting from a cost aspect, free to play is absolutely a thing, but more so play Arena, because that's what I do in Magic. I think Magic's too damn expensive, so I play Sealed or Draft.
Yeah, and you show up and you still get a Magic experience, but without the gigantic price tag, and you have fun. You pay like your $20, right? You get a couple packs.
Play my $20.
Have a good time.
Get some cards, maybe win some packs, and move on. So
and sometimes you open a really cool card and then you just sell it to somebody in the store, and you're like, hey, I just made $20.
You're not helping. You're not helping the analogy to Hearthstone, Dills. You're not helping.
Sorry.
But that's the reason I always harp on. I want more arena modes, more limited options in Hearthstone for that very reason. Because I think
here sometimes you start playing Hearthstone, and then you start a podcast, and then it becomes your job. And you're like, hey, I made money playing Hearthstone.
Yeah, and then you say something like that publicly, and everyone who you offended by saying, if it's too expensive, don't play it, start yelling at you that you're biased. We do a podcast specifically about one topic, so clearly we're biased. So, yeah. This is why I love you, Dills.
There's always a way, man. There's always a way.
This is why I like you. This is why I like you. You always take the thing that's gonna, anger a certain group of people, and then you just throw gasoline on it.
Sure. Look, I made more money sitting in a damn office all day doing stuff that I hated. So, it's not like we're rich, but it's nice to know. Hey, it's possible. Look at that.
This was the most long-winded thank you, Angry Chicken patrons, in the history of this podcast.
There you go. We're actually not done thanking the patrons. That's what's going on here.
No, that's exactly what's happening. All right, Dills, next email.
Nick is the next email. He says, hello, chickens. My question is, with Dill's Jade Elemental Shaman deck, when playing Servant of Kalamos, which element do you always take when it comes up? I've had it where I've had other... Wait. He says Servant of Kalamos, what element? I think he means just Kalamos, right? Kalamos is the one with the elements.
No. Oh, I think he meant elemental. So Servant of Kalamos, you discover an elemental.
Okay. Which elemental do you take when it comes up? I've had it where I've had another Servant of Kalamos, the Jade Spirit, come up. The order, I always take them as Kalamos, Primal Lord, Servant of Kalamos, then depending on the situation, Jade Spirit or Hot Spring Guardian. What are your thoughts on this? I can't give you a rule because it depends on the game state, right?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I would.
When you watch the Three-Headed Chicken, I think we a couple times passed on Kalamos, Primal Lord.
Yeah, that the VOD is patron only, but but yeah, there were multiple. I want to say there might have been 3 games in a row where we're like, oh, Kalamos again, but it's the wrong pick.
Yeah. The thing is, okay, so what you have to think about is you have to think about what's going on in the game, and a lot of times what your next turn is going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you there's a lot of situations where, like, if I play Servant of Kalamos on turn 5, and Fire Elemental is an option, and I don't have a 6-drop, well, seems like a pretty obvious pick, right? It's like, okay, now I know that I'm going to play Fire Elemental next turn. It gives me a turn 6 play. It's not one of those things you can adhere some hard fast rule to, and you shouldn't. People who are putting hard fast rules on Hearthstone, you're playing wrong. Like I'm going to put one hard fast rule. If you are using hard fast rules, you're playing wrong. Every situation is different.
Yeah,
you have to play to the situation.
There are certainly guidelines and tips when you're getting going that you should keep in the back of your mind and try and follow to the best of your ability. But the deeper down the rabbit hole you go, the more, and this happens on Into the Nexus all the time too, it depends is the answer to almost every scenario.
Yeah. And it heavily depends on what the board state is, what your hand looks like, how much health you have, how much health they have, what class you're playing against. Like when you're playing against like a mage, sometimes you just need to pick, a little healing, and sometimes that's a Hot Springs Guardian. Sometimes it's a Kalamos to get the 12 healing, right? It depends. So, yeah. I can only tell you it's good that you seem to know the value of the cards, like their overall kind of base value.
Yeah, you have a decent hierarchy going on here.
Yeah. But definitely don't start to think of the cards. They're not arena picks, right? Like, this card isn't a tier list above this card all the time. Always be mindful of what the board state is. And if you're missing a drop, if it can smooth your curve out, like I've picked Firefly because I just need a couple of elementals to keep the chain going, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if I can do that, then that's going to be the right thing. So just make sure you're keeping all that stuff in mind and just make the best educated choice you can.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah, like I wish I could give a hard fast rule here, but I just can't. And you're going to need to just play a lot of the deck to kind of understand that. I love that there's a question about that deck, though, because like I said when we did the Three-Headed Chicken stream, it's a very fun deck because of the sheer amount of decisions you have, right? And I love a game of Hearthstone where I have to make a lot of decisions. That's a fun game of Hearthstone to me.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and that's what's fun about it. It came up on the triple-headed chicken that I was saying this is not what I expected elemental shaman or elemental decks to play like, because when the elementals were getting, teased for Ungoro, I thought it was just going to be freaking Curvestone, but it turns out that there's a lot of nuance to that Jade Elemental Shaman, and I dig it for that reason, and that's why there's not a simple answer to this question. A lot of that deck and most decks is going to come down to, well, what's the board state, and like you said, what is your next turn? What's your next few turns look like? Because Kalamos is very often the answer if you're going into a turn where you're going to play him, or 1, 2, 3 turns from now you're going to play him, and also in your hand you're looking at him like, okay, next turn's taken care of, the turn after that's taken care of. Oh, Calamus is perfect. I'll play him in 3 turns.
Yep. And you have an elemental you can play on turn 7 before turn 8. Calamus, right?
Yes.
So yeah, there's just so much going on. But yeah, super fun deck. I'm glad people are out there playing it. And you'll probably see me come back to it and circle around with a better version as things kind of shake out. But I'm still really enjoying it. Anybody who hasn't, I'll pop it in the show notes right below this email too, so people can check it out if they haven't already.
Yep. Well, fantastic. That's going to wrap it up for this episode. Thank you, everyone, for your emails. Send them to tacpodcast@gmail.com. Keep them coming. Thanks again, patrons, for supporting us at patreon.com/TAC. Extra super special thanks to our producers. Also, it's unprecedented, Dills. Not only have we picked up a couple new producers, we're out of producer slots. They're filled,
wow.
all of them. So thank you to Declan H., Peter W., Michael N., Sean C., and Johnny S. Welcome to the club, new producers. Check out the Angry Chicken swag. We have t-shirts available at shirts.amove.tv. Go pick yourself up a Jobs Done shirt. We also have cups, glasses, pint glasses, that type of stuff over at etched.amove.tv for your custom etched glassware. You can follow the show on Twitter at TAC Podcast and catch us live Tuesday nights at 4 p.m. Eastern right here on twitch.tv/AMoveTV. Dills, when you're not tacking it up, where can folks find you?
Check out Twitter at Willie Dills. Twitch is twitch.tv/Willie Dills. The Instance, World of Warcraft podcast. And, of course, 1-900 Wrestling with Justin Robert Young. And also, we did do the recent tournament, the Medivh versus Old Gods tournament. I actually won the tournament after losing my first match. I came all the way through the lower bracket, but you can find on my YouTubes, youtube.com/WillieDillsSF. You can find the video where I show you the finals of that tournament. So check that out as well. It's pretty fun because we're playing all these weird decks. Every deck has an Old God. We only use Medivh or Karazhan and Old God's cards, and it's super cool.
Badass. Everyone should definitely go check that out. Jocelyn is not here, but give her a follow on Twitter at Joss Plays and check out her podcast, The Gamers In. You can follow me on Twitter at Garrett Art, and every podcast I do, including this one, can be found over at amove.tv. I'd recommend going and subscribing to Embrace the Spoilers, because as soon as Jocelyn is back from her vacation and I am back from mine, we will get that rolling for the new season of Game of Thrones, which is off to a fantastic start. Loved the first episode. Can't wait to talk about it with Jocelyn. And also next week, I will not be here, but Dills and Jocelyn will be here holding down the fort. So enjoy that, and good luck, Dills. You'll totally need it. You're definitely not a seasoned podcaster with a lot of experience that could probably pull a show out of his butt.
Yeah, I think we'll manage. It'll be hard without you, though, man. We'll miss you.
Oh, I know. It'll be so hard to not have the consistently lowest ranked player of the three of us on the show. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Thank you all for tuning in, and until next time, job's done.
Job's done. Yes!
Hype.
There you go.
There it is.